Priority one. What do they want? Where are they from? You'll be reporting to me, but you'll be working with him when you're in the show.
That's what they call him, the UFO.
Thank you for joining us for another Movie Lingo discussion. I'm Eddie Lingo.
I'm Ron.
And today we're going to talk about Arrival, which I know has come out some time ago, but I feel like this movie is definitely worth going back to discuss it, full discussion. I'm glad we're finally speaking on it. Heads up, this is going to be a full, in-depth spoiler. Did we agree to do?
I think with this movie, it's good that we waited.
Yeah, so now
because so much information has come in since the movie came out. And I feel like this is one of those movies that you really can't, you have to go watch. I don't think.
Yeah, we're just gonna talk it all out.
We can just talk.
However
you want. You're the host. Huh?
All right, so I was debating if I wanted to give you like a little small segment, spoiler free, but this movie, it's been out long enough. Hopefully you've seen it. If you haven't, cut it off. But we're going to go in with spoilers, in depth discussion about everything. All right, so. Arrival is a sci-fi movie basically dealing with the arrival of aliens. They have basically these pods or ships that end up in 12 different points of the world, and they're basically just hovering, and they end up recruiting what's her name? Totally forgot her name.
Amy.
Is that a character name?
Well, that's her real name, Amy.
Okay, I was thinking. So they end up recruiting her because... Amy Lawrence? No,
I'm saying I think her name is Lawrence or something like that.
Lauren for the movie, yeah. So basically, she's a language specialist, or I don't know what the proper term is for that.
Linguist or something like that.
Linguist, we'll go with that. The aliens, they believe, because of their communication, that they've been trying to speak to them. So they've been trying to get the best people in the world to try and figure out what it is they want, to ask the big question: why are you here? Okay, but this process isn't as easy as all of the government officials think, and she's trying to get them to understand that they may not process words the same way we do. So we have to figure out what their language is and establish a language of our own, and then work our way up to understanding each other before I can ask that question. So this movie actually takes place over a period of time, which I thought was pretty great. To get to that big question and that big finale. I'm not going to say anything else because we're just going to start chipping away at it because I don't want to say too much too early. But Ron, how did you feel about this movie?
Believe it or not, while you were telling the storyline, I was still thinking about other things about the movie.
Oh, like,
stuff that was inside the movie. Like I enjoyed the movie.
I enjoyed it too.
It's one of the best movies I've seen in a while. I know the whole title, sci-fi, kind of throws off. You're thinking Alien, Terminator type stuff. This brings life into a genre that was kind of much like the zombie. It's done over and over again where it's the same effect. Mm-hmm. This wasn't. So whatever you're thinking when the movie starts, this is not that. This is gonna take you on a whole nother ride. And the conversation that you can get from it, from any, like, as soon as the movie's over, for you talking with whoever you went and watched it with, to having a conversation at work or online. That's pretty crazy.
It is.
Like, this movie's a ride.
It is, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Roller coaster.
I thought, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, this was my favorite movie of 2016.
Go watch it.
Go watch it if you haven't. Stop letting us spoil us because we're about to get right into it.
There's people that are nominated to win stuff for this.
It was phenomenal. The pacing of it, the way the story was told. You're thinking you're getting things that are of the past, and then as you realize the story goes on, that they're actually part of the future. So yes, we're getting into that. They're actually part of the future. The communication, the way that the aliens spoke was like almost like an ink blot that they would do in a circular motion, but the different strands, the way it come off, would mean certain things, and they used our technology and Amy's skill set to determine that and match those to our words, and they created this whole language. It was phenomenal of how they communicate back and forth. So then they got to a point where she could digitally put different circles together to ask them questions, and they started speaking back and forth, and it was amazing. And I thought that was the best part of the movie until the movie kept going, because I was amazed at that, and that over the months they were just developing this way of communicating. But like all situations, people don't understand something, they're scared. So you have people who weren't in that loop. All of the people at home watching the news every day and listening to theories and the radios and getting anxious and like, oh, they're here to kill us. Why don't we just show them who's boss and shoot them out of the sky? You got that pressure. You got the government, the people over her who don't really understand. They just want to know, what are you here for? What do you want? Like, and they're getting nervous, but she's developing a relationship, and Jeremy Renner as well. You know, he's a math guy, he's a numbers guy, but they're developing this relationship with the people, the aliens in their particular ship. There's 12 more, and they're with other countries trying to communicate. And at first, there's this mass network of shared information, but that starts changing because of that fear or that not understanding. Some countries are using games like chess to communicate, which the aliens were able to do. But like she said, you're teaching in a game of chess. There's either win-lose situation. There's a limit to your communication, and you're going to only get that type of response, that win or lose type of response. She was trying to find a way to truly communicate with them. I'm babbling. Sorry, because I like this movie so much.
Like I said, I'm over here just thinking of stuff. Like, there are so many things in the movie. Like, there was one part where they're going to let you see what a conspiracy theorist, on an AM radio program having a conversation. And the Easter egg in that, they're not going to tell you, and I'm not going to say it because then you're going to start Googling some crazy stuff and I'm going to get blacklisted for all the wrong reasons. But it's an actual public figure that has his own website. He has an AM show. He was involved in the elections recently that we just had in the U.S. So this guy, like, define him, he looks very similar to the person. Even his hand gestures at one point where he points at it's the same thing as if you were on blah, blah, blah.com. Mm-hmm. I thought that was interesting. There were so many Easter eggs and things that are in there. Like when you said the word loop, it's a loop. It's continuing. It's like, I don't even know how you want to dissect this.
Well, let's talk about it. All right. First, the biggest reveal. The movie starts off showing her with a daughter.
Okay.
And then we see that the daughter dies. It set me up to believe that this had happened to her before the arrival, and that's why she was alone and looked so unhappy as a teacher, and this situation was something that she wanted to be involved in just because it was, it's phenomenal. She wanted to be a part of it. And there was these moments of these memories, these flashes, which I thought were flashbacks. Okay? But big spoiler again, you shouldn't be watching it if you didn't see the movie. What those were what we would consider flash forwards, but to the aliens, because like she said, they don't consider time linear like we do.
No.
It's all at once. So basically it's happening to them all at the same time. They're seeing it all at once. It's not like for us, we're like, oh, in 30 years, you're going to go through this, you're going to go through that. They're seeing it like right now, and they're just trying to get her to understand it to the point where some of the stuff that was happening in our future then generated the memory to her because she started seeing time the same way they did. That's why she was able to figure out what she told the Chinese consul or whatever his name was and all that stuff, because she started seeing time the same way they do. And that's why she knew what to do because they were telling her, you already have the gift. You already have it.
Right.
Because the way they communicate with her now and the way they've been affecting her brain, she's now seeing time the same way all at once and not. So I thought that was the biggest.
I felt like they wanted. Some movies do that montage, like here's a difficult situation, let's do a montage and speed it up. This wasn't it. Like it was nothing wrong with the story or the slow or pace. Had nothing to do with that. It's just they wanted you to understand how complex the language was, or language in general. Like they showed you the math in the figuring out, and they wanted to lose you. There was people at the theater it's like picture when your kid brings home homework, like when Jaden, my nephew, he brings home homework, and I think he's like in the 5th grade, and it looks like something out of like a college advanced course. You're like, I really don't understand. And he's trying to explain to me how this works out. That's what they do to you at a certain point in the movie, and you're trying to stay along because you're like, I think this is important. I need to know it, but you're like, I lost all of that. And the best way I can say it is like language in Asia, you would see characters. And each block, even though it has different, swipes or whatnot, I don't want to be disrespectful with language. Clear it up in the comments, but they always do. But each part means something different. So that's kind of what they were showing. So picture a circle, and what they would show you is just a glob or something would mean something different. And on top of it, it was 3 or 4 dimensional in a way where it wasn't linear. It had different volumes and different aspects of that circle. And then the visualization they gave us is when we write one way. I mean, no one's going the opposite way in most cases, but they said, think about it this way. The way they process is they're writing with 2 hands, and they're writing it together because they already know the past, present, and the future.
Right. So
we can't do it that way because you don't know about the space on the paper, what you're going to say next, but they can do it effortlessly. So that was crazy. And as much as that part of the communication they were saying, the music was communicating. At least that's how I picked it up. The music was also a co-star.
It played a very strong role in that.
Very strong. Even the visualization of the cinematography. Again, I don't watch movies for a living. I'm just a regular person that watches it. But you can see the details in it. I went back to check the score, and the guy who's working on it is the same. They've been working together. The composer for this one and the director. They've been working on together. Also going to work on the reboot of what's that sci-fi movie? It's been out 35 years now.
Oh, yes. Blade Runner.
So this is the same crew. And for anybody who was hesitant, like, oh, man, they're going to touch it, this was like a coming-of-age party. Like, they're in good hands.
Yeah, because
But the Easter egg in the music is how he wrote the music was he did a loop. It's a computer loop of the piano. Okay. And it goes in a full circle, and it's every 15th of the beat.
Really?
And every song is a circle of a loop that's every 15th.
Nice.
And again,
just like the language.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's people right now talking about this movie as if it's going to start a new religion. Like, that's how crazy that this movie has in it. Let's see. You had said before the weapon, right? They use the word weapon, and some people are using chess.
Yeah, when they were playing chess, I think the Russians were playing chess with them. Mm-hmm. They were using the word weapon, but like she was saying, that just could be to them. It may not mean what it means to us. It could mean tool or device or something of that nature. Like
there's people that already figured out majority of what the movie breaks down.
Yeah, like
the weapon. All they were trying to say was the language, but they didn't know how to say the language.
Right. They were basically saying, you have when they were saying the weapon was basically like you have the tool to solve this problem. And that was her basically experiencing those memories and utilizing that connection in their language.
Yeah, because she did have a thing where it was an idea that if you learned a language, you learned the culture, you picked up something of the language. So if you picked up a new language and you really, dug into it, then your life would revolve around that and you have more aspects. Changes the way your brain works. Exactly.
Changes the way your brain works.
So they use that to play on it by knowing their language. Gave you, I don't want to say the ability, but you had the know-how to basically time hop.
Yeah.
So you were able to kind of mess around and time hop. With that, again, they're still talking about this movie. They've kind of figured out, like, the aliens, they already knew how to speak our language.
Right.
They knew how to communicate. See, when you sit there and you watch it for the first time before everyone starts commenting on it and breaking it down, you're sitting at home saying, okay, they're teaching him how to walk. And I'm human, and my name is wrong. But they already know the name. They already know who everyone is. They know every part that's already happening, right? Because they've seen it already, right? But they can't. We as humans are the people interacting. We had no idea how to speak their language, so they had to go through the process
so we can get it.
So that we can get it. Yeah. So as if we're sitting in the theater, you're sitting there saying, and as soon as you leave and do your homework, you're like, damn, that's fucking deep.
I fucking love this movie, man. That was deep. It was really deep.
There was a part in the movie, I got notes down here. There's a part of the movie, there's so much. Okay, the bird. Now, I knew about the bird. I thought it was overanalyzing.
Oh, the bird that they kept bringing in the cage when they spoke with them.
Yeah.
And then the daughter's drawing.
You know why the bird was there?
for what, gas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to make sure there was no poison.
It was like an old coal mining trick that they used to do.
If the
take
bird
a
dies,
canary
then you
in
know it's not safe.
because they're fragile. So that was cool that they put that in. That
Mm-hmm.
no matter how much technology we've advanced, we still went to a bird from the 1940 coal mine
to
make sure that it's safe for us. What else? The Abbott and Costello.
Yes, when they named them.
They came up with the name. I thought it was because it was black and white. No, I'm thinking about I'm television, black and white.
Okay.
But you know what it is then?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm laughing because I was thinking the same thing.
Okay, then.
And I'm like, okay, well, now you're going to...
touch on it, but they're famous. Their skit that they're so famous for is Who's on Third.
Oh, that's right.
And the confusion. So that's why
between the two and
they
the language.
named them Abbott and Costello.
Okay.
What else you got? The death process part. Remember when Abbott says, or Costello says, Abbott is in the death process.
Right.
The reason why that's crazy is they're not talking like a robot. As much as you think this is an alien movie, it isn't. It's about our situation. It's just about us as humans. Because the weapon that made us all freak out was just language, just fucking talking to each other.
Right.
And so when he says Abbott is in the dying process, he's talking in the past, present, and future.
Right.
Because we all are dying. We're all in the process. So that there's a scene where there are two hepapods there. And as they're sitting there, Abbott is late. And the reason why he's not that he's late, again, they've already seen the movie, to speak. But he's got to come back because it's his time to die for the explosion. And he knows that he has to sacrifice. And
he's seen it already.
Yeah. And the other one can't die because it has to come back and tell the doctor the last... There was so much in there.
It was layered, but it was so well thought out. It was so well done. And it just had my mind going and whirling, to the point where I even had to ask the question, knowing if you were in her shoes towards the end after you fix everything. I mean, they said to her, we're going to need your help in however many 100 years or whatever. So, we need you guys to know this language now, have the tool to help us when we come back. And so now that she's conquered that, they're good. And she's going to, she wrote the book you can see in the future. Mm-hmm. And she's being rewarded for it, and she's teaching the language. And then there will be, by the time they come back, everybody will be well versed in it. Okay. But she also got to see her life. Her daughter died. Mm-hmm. Jeremy Renner becomes her husband. He leaves her because she tells him of her that the daughter dies and he can't take it. He can't sit back and watch her die. If you were in that position, knowing what you knew, would you still play it out the same?
That's crazy you asked that.
Okay. Because
this comes from a book. It's a short story. Won a lot of awards. Came out in the late 90s. I want to say 98, 99, something like that. And that's how you have majority of that story. But it originally, the idea of it, don't know the person's name. I'm not going to try to butcher it. You can do your homework. It's some weird number that looks, named as if like you might have just been messing around on the keyboard, and it's whatever. But the whole idea of it was, if you knew how life was from beginning to end, the good and the bad.
Because you know everything, like the loop.
And he called it the internal life, or the internal loop, or the internal hourglass. If you knew all your joys, all your pains, and your sighs, and anything in between, would you be fine with it? If that's what our life was, every day, would you be fine with it? And he wanted that notion to become an experiment. Unfortunately, the guy wasn't able to find an experiment of it, but it was just the idea, just to make you think. So she does say literally word for word this guy's ideas of, if you had the opportunity, knowing everything you have, would you do it? You want to say yes, but just like her husband, people are gonna say no. They don't want to know how it all ends,
which is why he left.
They don't want to know how it all.
He couldn't sit back knowing that.
I don't know. I want to say positively yes, I would, but like I said before, that's tough. That's a great conversation to have over Thanksgiving.
It's a great conversation to have over any time. Me personally, I I worry. I mean, I kind of wish that it's not their responsibility. I'm not saying this hurt the movie, but I just kind of wish that there would be some indication on if you do alter one thing, does it mess up your true goal? Is it like a Barry Allen Flash fucking with the timeline type thing?
It is.
So she has to see it all the way through in order to get to that end of that true goal that she's destined for.
I think
because she could have.
I think you can control it in a certain aspect as far as...
The only thing I would change is her not telling her husband what she knew about the kid dying, and then maybe he would still be there throughout the kid's death. That was the only thing that I would have probably not told, because that's hard for anybody to just know, like, listen, with this beautiful kid we got, in about 7 years, she's going to be dead.
True, but that's why I think towards the end of the movie, she realizes and has the language down. And because she has the language down, she can time hop back and forth. So you start to see the memories go back. And I didn't mess with any numbers. Mike, you can try. But her daughter was 6, 8, and 12. She died when she was 12.
Okay, so it was 12 years, okay.
And the colors that they did, most of the movie is blue and it's gray and it's icy and cold, even though it looks... in different climates, as if they go all over the world, the landscaping, or I don't know the terminology, but the lens they use is very much the same, except for when they did the flashbacks. The flashbacks are going forward. They were warm, and they all had the same color. It was blue, it was pink, it was yellow. Even when the girl was molding the clays, it was the same colors in the drawing that she had on the clay. It was the same that she was wearing on her outfit.
So the clays look like though, right?
Yeah, it looked just like the
alien.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So... It was, and it just, again, the amount of information they're giving you, but when she sits there and she hugs him, I think, and they don't have to show it for us, there's no need to have more information, more background on Hallmark moment, but when she hugs him, fresh after he finished shooting Civil War, he literally had just left that to go do this movie, as she's hugging him, she's probably going in her head and seeing what their life is, and that's the question. If she would tell him that, and change it, then she wouldn't have the love and the joy. And she was willing to go through the bittersweet moments. Because two things. One, she wanted to have a kid. She wanted to have a life with this person. I don't know what her motives are. It's not the basis of the story. But the bigger part about it was she has to save humanity. She's a big part and key in saving humanity.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if she can change or not, as much as I don't think she had an option when everything's riding on you. There was no one else in the movie where it was like, hey, she can't get it. This guy over here in Poland can do it. No, she was the only one. If she doesn't figure it out, this becomes a very dark movie. But to go on your point about Flash and the time continuance, I think that is true because the pods disappear at the end.
Right.
And they talk about in the movie there's no gas, there's no radiation, there's no radio between each of the 12 disciples. There's nothing all over the world. Remember he said spread the word all over the world. But anyways, there was nothing that was shown. So if you think about like Flash and comic books, he can do even the show Hero, the comic book heroes, the butterfly effect. So that's why I think they disappear, because they're able to go back and communicate in a way almost like whispering to themselves or other people, that they're able to have a conversation without the radio waves. That's why it seemed like when China was starting to blow stuff up, all of them were moving and getting ready for battle, basically, because they've already had this conversation. You already know how it plays out.
Right.
So that's how I took it. I took it as, yes, I think you can step on some butterflies, but in her situation, why would you?
Why would you when you know the outcome? I got you. Now here's a couple of issues I have with the story.
3,000 years, it was the Jesus reference in there too. I'm telling you, they just dropped shit in
there.
there.
Yeah, I hear you. But here's the issue I have. Okay. And maybe I missed it, so maybe you can help me understand. Now, the pod or the ship that's speaking to her, they've seen everything and they know that she's gonna be the one. So that leads me to believe that the other pods don't have that same connection. Are they all on their own separate journey and they only see a certain time? Because realistically, wouldn't they all know that she was the one if they were all in communication and they wouldn't waste their time talking with everybody else? True,
but that's why I think it goes into that butterfly effect, that you can't just go and knock on this doctor's doorstep and say, hi, we're aliens. We need you to kind of learn some stuff so you can fix some stuff and change some stuff. Remember, they can understand all languages. all languages. They've got Rosetta Stone on lock.
Well, let me jump in real quick before I lose the thought. So you're saying they needed to put pieces in place to help her get where she needed to be?
Yes. Because when they're sitting there watching, and then when you go back and watch it, when they're sitting there and you're like, oh, they're good, we're teaching the aliens. No, they're teaching us. At the end of the movie, the director and the composer were able to teach you, you should have left thinking time is short. You can't use it and come back to it. It makes you question life, religion, spirituality. Like, that's the conversation you left when this movie was done. Unlike another movie, Collateral Beauty, but we'll talk about that later. But I'm just saying, I don't think that hurt anything. I think it's almost like you're not going to let your son or daughter touch a hot burning eye. Right. You're not going to put them in that danger.
Right.
Okay? But if it was something like, I don't know, playing in the grass and they fell, you're not going to cuddle them and say, hey, look, don't fall, and put them in a bubble or something. Right. Some of those bumps and bruises in life, you're needed to make a better decision. True. So when the Russian end up killing the guy for saying, use the weapon, you don't have much time, they took weapon as what we know, just like they said for the China chess game. Weapon as something was bad. But they're saying, if you don't use the language, if you don't learn our language and have the ability to see the time and see the future, then your humanity is gone. Right. They didn't take it that way. So they freaked out and they killed the translator.
There you go.
And it's also funny that they pick Russia and China.
Yeah, to be the conflict.
They're always in some shit. They're always in some shit.
The aggressor. Yeah.
Want to blow shit up.
Yeah, definitely. It was. How do I want to word it?
Man, this movie was mindful.
It was, and
like,
I loved it.
Even the name Hannah is a loop.
It is, and that's what she told her, because it's the same thing backwards. And I thought that was pretty awesome because of the whole language. They know from start. They know the end of what they're going to say. The whole sentence from, they're writing the end of it and the beginning all at once. It's a loop. All of this stuff is, and there's probably so much more. I probably need to watch it
the
again.
Kangaroo part where she basically says there's a story about, she makes a lie about a kangaroo, basically saying how they got their name. And how she says it's something along the lines of, like, people who are, I guess, maybe not of technology or the advancement of people, I guess, as they were settlers versus maybe people who were already living in that landscaping. But they didn't know what an animal was called. So someone says, hey, what's that called? And they said, a kangaroo. And so she says they didn't know what it was. Kangaroo was meaning for, I don't know what it is. They just basically made it up. And it stuck. It's almost like they were kind of messing with the fact that if we see it on social networking, it must be true. Mm-hmm. Like, she's getting a divorce, he's sleeping with who, this person happened. You're already believing it without even any facts. And even with her saying that, the general believed it, even though it was a lie. It was like they were opening that little Russian doll where there was more knowledge and more little inside of it. That's what they were doing. But then someone found out online that even with her lying, she was still telling the truth. The kangaroo is not real. But the Aborigine people in Australia, they do their symbols and signs different. Majority of the culture, when you come up with constellations, girl, what's your sign? I'm a Sagittarius, Capricorn, I'm just saying. But anyways, they normally do it on the stars, and the brightness of the stars determines the story in culture as civilizations grew. Aborigines don't do it that way. They actually look at the darkness in between the constellations. So when they were doing the math, and the math came up to 1 and 12, and he said, I measured the gap in between the distances. They were basically saying the whole Australian thing, but she never makes a reference of it.
She doesn't bring it back.
She doesn't bring it back because she doesn't know. We don't know until you go back and do your homework, or somebody does your homework for you.
Powerful shit. This movie.
That's crazy, man.
I'm going to ask you a stupid question.
I don't think there is a stupid question with this.
What do you rate this one?
Oh, just random? It's a 10. It's the only fucking movie I said a 10.
That's what I'm saying.
You watch Ben-Hur, and it messes with religion a little bit. You look at Collateral Beauty. You've got Manchester by the Sea, Fences. You got a lot of good movies that come out, and they get the tears going. You get Girl by the Train. You get books that are movies. You get like the genre of movies. There's tons of them out there with great music, great set, great shots. I mean, but to put the package completely together to make you like. I could see someone in college having to do a paper on this movie.
Yeah.
I could see someone honestly, like if you think about Superman, Kryptonian, they came up with a language. Mm-hmm. I could see someone coming with these little weird ink blogs for the hepapods and coming up with a language for this shit.
Why not?
I'm dead ass. I can see people rocking tattoos with this.
Why not? I mean, it was that moving, that impactful, that, and every little piece that they gave you meant something. There was no lost parts in that movie at all. No
Even when
parts.
they did the promotional setup for this, there was a website. I don't know what it is. Go do your homework like I did. There was a website. You go to the website. It played a bunch of weird sound effects.
Okay. That was them speaking, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be the aliens, but conspiracy theories thought it was something else, whatever. But someone actually went back and actually took the sound, sped it through some machines, figured out exactly what it was, and there were coordinates. There were states or certain areas all over the world. There were 12 of them. This is before the movie came out. The people went back and found all 12. Then it asked for numbers. Well, somebody went back and said, well, the only numbers that can come from these places are coordinates. They took the coordinates in. They put the coordinates in the website. The website gave them a journal read. The journal read was somewhere in August. And it was saying, it was from the doctor saying, well, today I had the weirdest thing. I had dreams, but they really weren't dreams. It was almost like some fuzzy deja vu.
Damn. I wish I would have been a part of that before the movie came out.
To put the detail in this before you even release the first trailer,
right?
That's crazy. DC, man. Some of you guys out there, can you just take some notes? Just take some notes.
I think it goes,
This came
obviously
from a short story, not a bunch of comic books.
They made a very phenomenal movie from it. Obviously, my rating is a 10, so that's a 10
Interstellar
overall.
didn't do it. Just it tried.
This one, this is my number one movie of 2016. I know that there are some independent films that were great. Everybody's ranting and raving about that I haven't seen yet. But that's not. I don't think I'm gonna give them a shot. I'm gonna still catch up just to see, and we'll update on our top films of 2016. But right now, this one is it for me. I thought this movie was just phenomenal on every level.
You know what she says to the Chinese ambassador or king or president? I don't know what they're called. No disrespect.
Something about his dying wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone translated what she says or what he says or what was said to him. See, I just did present, past, future type shit right there.
That's it. There you go. You seen
There
it
we
all
go.
at
I
once.
started.
Seen it all at once.
My wife's gonna hate that shit. I'm telling you, man, because I started watching shit. I started doing that shit. So now I'm just some fucking Magneto type shit. I don't know. But anyways, the phrase was something along the lines of, there are no winners in wars, only widows. And that's what the wife said to him. And that's what basically helps unlock.
That fixed everything. That pulled him back.
And it was crazy how, like, I watch movies where you have time travel, but it was weird how they did this, because it was like, you picture, like, there's literally a scene where they're like, hey, if you didn't call me that day and tell me what you told me, the world would have ended.
But that's what I'm saying about seeing it at the same time. She's experiencing it.
Yes.
In that time and right now at the same time. That's why she's waiting for him to say it so she can now know what to say.
But I think it's without the monologue or the montage, my bad. That ability to her is new. She's racing to figure it out.
Right,
and
yeah.
I believe
before she fully,
I believe the aliens have figured it out where it's like it's just normal to them. They know exactly how to get the information. So for her,
because everything's there.
For her, yeah,
she was just really starting to.
She's like
hone in and
I called you. Yeah, my direct number.
And what did I say to you?
What number was it? And the guy literally was like, "You don't have my cell number."
And then she was.
It's like, yeah. And then after you called me, you told me this code. What code? I'm gonna whisper it in your ear. I was like, oh shit. Because I could use that at work. Tell my boss to give me a raise or a promotion or something. We all could.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You'll probably be in the future to know if you can see time.
We wouldn't be chosen anyway. Because think about it, nobody else is gonna. Later on the end. You see she wrote a book. She's teaching people the language,
right?
But it doesn't show that anyone else has the same ability she has.
No.
So I think it's not really just learning the language. Like the idea was, if you poured yourself enough into the language, and nothing pours you in better than being sucked into the ship.
Yeah, the whole experience, and like the theory of learning language actually changes your brain function.
Even the floor was weird. You saw it inside the ship?
No, well, yeah,
it was like, you think of like a grate, like a New York City grate, so you don't fall through. Some people do. But it literally looked like sound waves, like thin white sound waves that were sharp, as if you stepped on them, it would hurt. But she was floating. She didn't really stand on it.
The whole design of the ship and everything. I loved it.
Everything was like something out of like Circus City. I don't know. Like
Circus City.
Bringing them back.
Took it out there. They're probably up there waiting on us.
Rooms to go set. Some
modern language.
Oh man.
I'm gonna go ahead and close there because we could talk about this all day.
Listen, go to websites. Like, I found out this information within like 15 minutes. Okay, and possibly affected the review for Fences, but you'll have to see that one. But there are people still. There's thousands. I'm like, there are thousands of websites already up just about this movie. And not even Easter eggs type stuff. They're literally talking about what about the idea of the concept of time and all this. That's crazy. Like saying that we live in the fourth dimension, but the aliens live on dimension number 2, and it's like glass stacked on top of each other. Like this.
It's almost, I mean, the way they see it, it kind of has to be. Damn. It's pretty phenomenal on that one. So, I'm definitely going to start looking into that stuff. I don't want to become a crazy fanatic, but I love that movie that much, and I'm going to chase it. I'm going to look into it. And we're going to follow up later on about best movies of 2016. All right. So without anything else to add, we gave it a 10. I think that's, besides the Civil War, that's the first 10 that's the only other 10 we've had all year.
That was without hesitation.
Yeah. Without hesitation. That's why I said I'm asking just a stupid question, but
the movie makes you lean forward, makes you listen. Your mouth is open. You're like, what? What the fuck is this? Like the part of the movie where she was hyperventilating as she goes to the ship. Mm-hmm. That's what it was doing to me. I'm pretty sure there's other people.
It made me uncomfortable too.
Other people are probably watching it thinking, "Oh, I know. I've seen an alien movie. It's gonna jump out at it. It's gonna do this." No, it has nothing to do with that. You're watching our reaction to a situation which we don't understand, and all we have to do is communicate.
That's it.
Love a little more.
That's it.
And wrap this shit up. Because that's what he's saying. Because I went to the future and found out.
There you go. He saw
at the present.
He saw this moment.
But by the time you watch it, it'll be the past. You're welcome.
So thank you for joining us for another Movie Lingo discussion. I'm Eddie Lingo.
And I'm telling you, there's Skittles in the future. I'm Ron.
And in the present and in the past. We'll see you on the next one.
Dr. Banks? Are you insane?
Now that's a proper introduction.